Hi and good morning. Welcome back on the new episode of PTGK's On English series, Inspirational Cocktails and Add Value to Life. Today, we will deal with the subject of catch-22 situations in the pandemic times. Now, as all of you know, catch-22 situations are difficult situations to escape from. The term originated from a US novel titled Catch-22, published in 1962 or so, which talks about the US Air Force personnel who find funny military rules and they must solve each one to get across to the next point of their movement or forward movement or their next step. So these are certain situations like dilemmas in which the available alternatives cancel out against each other. So I'll tell you some simple and complex examples. The very simple example would be if you have to get this job, you need to have put in at least 5 years of service and gained experience. Now, without getting this job, how will you put in 5 years of service and gain experience? So, this is a typical catch-22 situation. Similarly, to go to a little more complex one, any insane pilot or no insane pilot can fly to a particular military airspace, and any pilot flying into that particular military airspace zone will become insane. So this again is a more enigmatic kind of catch-22 situations. So perceivably there are certain potential catch-22 situations during the pandemic days. Sick people and people who have to visit hospitals quite often are likely to avoid hospital visits for fear of increased exposure. Similarly, people who have to undergo their routine checkups of sugar and lipid profile, etc., are also likely to postpone the checkups due to hesitation to go to hospitals. Now, these situations could develop into real catch-22 situations, wherein if you go to the hospital, you run the risk of increased exposure, and if you remain at home without attending to your serious ailment or attending to your routine checkups which are due, then you will fall sick. So there are alternatives. Now suddenly when you are finding such a situation, you find yourself in a very traumatic situation or a stressful situation, and suddenly you may not remember the alternative. Now, I am talking about telemedicine. Now, telemedicine and consultations are available these days. Even though these things have been advertised and disseminated on a vast basis, people tend to forget because they are under stressful situations, and there may not be enough members in the family to guide them properly. So I thought I will try to convey something which could be helpful. Of course, many people may be practicing it already. What I do is, near my emergency or first aid kit in the house, I keep a small whiteboard wherein I write down the numbers like an SOP, like an emergency response plan, about the telemedicine marketing executive's number, the hospital number, or the clinic number from which the people will come and do the tests at home. They'll step into your house and get the test done with the minimum exposure. So such things, all of a sudden when you search for things, you may not find. So wherever you keep your emergency tablets or your thermometer and your finger pulse oximeter, these days, these have become part of the domestic emergency kit or the first aid box, whatever you call. So these things will go a long way in getting over the crisis or a catch-22 situation which appears so for want of any possible or readily available solutions which are readily available. So message of this video will be to smart consult during pandemic days. Thank you so much for viewing this video. If you like the video, please do subscribe. See you next week with an interesting topic again. Thank you so much.